So now that we're operating within this context where we're marketing a professional service to acquire customers, we've decided that the best approach is essentially going to be some sort of specialization. So given that as the foundation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some research from Hinge. So again, I don't want to take credit for this. This is Hinge's research. Go to Hinge Marketing. Lots of good resources. I even have their logo here at the bottom to give them full credit. So what is it that buyers value? So what they're valuing, first of all, is specialized skills and expertise. Again, it's your specialization. You are an expert in LinkedIn advertising. You are an expert in SaaS marketing. You're an expert in acquiring customers for dentists. You are an expert in solving some critical problem like high churn rates or lack of pipeline revenue. Whatever that specialization is. And your expertise is usually some sort of narrow thing. SEO for manufacturing companies, something like that. All right, number 2, their connections and networks. So I am an expert in SaaS marketing, so it's a certain type of software marketing. I have a lot of connections in the industry. I work for a Google-backed startup. I work for a Google Accelerator startup. I worked for Sony. I worked in Silicon Valley for years. So I have a whole network of people that I can call upon if I have some sort of need. So when someone hires me as a professional or as a digital marketing agent, they're not just getting me and my expertise, they're also getting my network. So for example, one of my best friends, he worked for Xero, and Xero is in the accounting world. So even though I have some experience with marketing accounting software, I can also call on him to get more expertise, more thought leadership. Okay, the other thing they want is help impact my bottom line financial impact. So a lot of what you're doing as a digital marketing agent or agency or consultant is you are helping them get more customers, get more revenue. It's not just about leads, but it's about further deeper in the funnel, having an impact on the income statement in particular. All right, number 4, they have become a trusted team member. So as I was mentioning before, you want to be a trusted advisor. You want to kind of be that insider that they trust when they have some sort of trigger event, whether that's like a new website or they decide they're going to launch a new brand. You're somebody they call upon for expertise. And then lastly here, we have the quality of the work they produce, which is kind of a given that you're going to produce quality work. All right, why buyers seek visible experts? So one of the things Hinge presents is this idea that you are a visible expert. So for example, if you're the principal in your digital marketing agency, or maybe you're just a solo consultant, you want to be a visible expert. You're somebody that's doing videos, you're somebody that's publishing, you're somebody that's seen at networking events, etc. You are visible as an expert in that narrow space. So why are people seeking out experts like you? Well, the number one most important thing here, by far, is to solve a critical problem. So a critical problem being that perhaps they don't have enough customers, perhaps their social ranking has dropped, perhaps they have poor reviews online, whatever that critical problem is within that certain industry or whatever, you're somebody they call upon to solve it. You're like a doctor who's hired to fix this problem, alleviate the pain. Number 2, to build the brand and win new business. Number 3, confidence conferred by an expert. So you want to be seen as confident, that you have a degree of faith in your recommendations based on your expertise, your research, your experience, etc. For a legal proceeding, so it's not going to apply much for you unless you're a digital marketing consultant when it comes to something like accessibility, for example. That's something that would prevent or mitigate the risk of a lawsuit. And then other. So basically the main thing that they're expecting from you is solving a critical problem. So something you want to do as a digital marketing expert is talk about problems that you solve, the key problems, and use case studies to do that. Okay, so what convinces clients that someone is a visible expert? You want to be seen as a specialist, you want to be seen as an expert. So one, they come highly recommended by friends and colleagues. So that's something that's happened to me when I do consulting for the SaaS industry. People see that I get results quickly, so they start recommending me. Sometimes I don't even have capacity to handle those referrals that come in. Sometimes I do. Recently, got a recommendation from a former boss of mine in Silicon Valley. But basically, once you sort of build your reputation in some sort of narrow specialization, people are going to start referring you. It's going to take a while to get the momentum, but people are going to have faith in you when somebody they trust has referred you to them, and they didn't just sort of run across you because you sent a cold email or something. All right, another thing. They made a complicated subject seem understandable. So you might want to publish something like how dentists get to the first page of Google. And then SEO seems really complicated, but you can sort of break it down and say, oh, really, it's just two critical things. One is the content is relevant, and two is there are other authoritative websites that are linking to you. Something like that. Make it very simple. This is something a lot of the most influential people do, like Simon Sinek. They simplify things. Now, he actually does it in a way that's not even true, but he's so convincing because he simplified it so much. This is something I do a lot. I break down complicated outbound marketing and lead generation into very simple steps, and I say, well, this is really what you're doing. It's these 5 things, etc. So that's the kind of content you want to create. They have a track record of highly visible success. So that's basically your case studies, which is the best form of content marketing you can have. Just talking with them inspires confidence. So when you have an expertise and you've specialized and you've sort of repeatedly done the same thing over and over, you're going to talk with confidence because you know what works and what doesn't. You can also do things like join Toastmasters or do some sort of like Dale Carnegie course, something that makes you a better speaker, a more persuasive speaker. They publish articles in prestigious publications. So getting published is great. And if you are an expert, you're more likely to get published. You're also more likely to get published if you have done some research with data. One way to figure out where to get published is to use SparkToro. You can go to SparkToro, describe your target customers that you're specializing in, and then SparkToro will shoot out some press options in terms of where you might want to get published. They are frequent keynote speakers. Public speaking is one of the best ways to market yourself as a professional service provider. So look for those opportunities, even if it's just a digital webinar.